Hello, welcome back to Lona Economia. In this video, we are going to look at the concept of aggregate demand. National output or GNP as also general price level. This is something which is determined by the interplay of aggregate demand and aggregate supply. This is something which means that the total production of a country is determined partly by aggregate demand and partly by aggregate supply. Aggregate demand, in this aspect, you have to understand the concept. It is the quantity of goods and services that households, business, firms, and various government departments are very much desirous of buying at existing prices. So this is a total demand of the economy. When I say government departments, I mean both the central as well as the state government. Not only the central and state governments, but also it includes the local level governments as well. I mean the panchayat level, municipality level as well. Now, like in the case of aggregate demand, you have to understand the concept of aggregate supply, which is the other side of the coin. The aggregate supply refers to the quantity of goods and services that producing units want to offer for sale. When I say producing units, what I mean is the business firms. Okay. And aggregate demand, here onwards, we are referring aggregate demand as AD. So, which is the short form of aggregate demand. This is something which refers to the total quantity of output that different economic units they voluntarily buy at existing price level. We assume that all the other things remaining constant. In other words, the aggregate demand is the desired expenditure of society on existing goods and services, which has got the following components like consumption, which is the first component. It has got many other components. We will be explaining one by one. So the first is consumption, which refers to the expenditure on consumption goods, personal consumption spending, which largely depends upon the personal disposable income. That is the income that you have after deducting your taxes. Okay. Various other factors also, apart from your income, also affect your consumption spending. Um, this will include your wealth, general price level, rate of interest, etc. Aggregate consumption spent in macroeconomics refers to the real consumption, that is the nominal or rupee consumption divided by the price index. The secondly we have investment. Here we are basically referring to the private investment, which refers to the expenditure on capital goods such as plant, equipment, machinery, etc. Which this will include capital accumulation in the form of inventories, raw materials, etc. The proximate determinants of investment are expected rate of return on new investment, that rate of interest, as also the rate of change in sales or of output of business firms. The central bank's monetary policy also play a very important part in influencing the investment decision. So this monetary policy of the central bank affects the investment decision by altering the rate of interest and credit availability. Third is government expenditure. This is the expenditure incurred by the government on goods and services, which forms the third part of the aggregate demand. Examples to government expenditure include the purchase of food grains from the farmers by the government, railway board purchase of wagons, purchase of medicines by the government hospitals, and so on. The output of such goods purchased by the government adds to the national income or the gross national product. Fourth and final component is the net exports. So when I say net exports, we are actually considering both exports as well as imports. So the fourth and final component of aggregate demand is the net exports, which is the difference between the value of exports and the value of imports. Various factors affect imports such as the domestic income and output, ratio of domestic to foreign prices, foreign exchange rate, etc. Since our imports are the imports of other countries, and sorry, exports of the other countries, I mean, when we are importing something, we are actually exporting. When we are importing something, that means that it happens to be the export of some other country, right? So import depend upon the same set of factors such as in the case of export, and these are the factors which would affect the export of the foreign country The foreign income, the terms of trade, foreign exchange rate, all these would affect the imports as in the case of export. Since net exports are the difference between the total export and total imports, this would depend upon the same variables. Okay. Now, let's understand the diagrammatic representation. In this figure, you could see a typical aggregate demand curve, which will combine all the four components of the aggregate demand, that is consumption expenditure, investment expenditure, government expenditure, and net exports. All the four components will add up to Q. Okay. So, in other words, you will see that the four spending patterns at the existing price level together would constitute aggregate demand in the economy, and you can see the aggregate demand curve here. At existing price level, we have to assume that all the other things influencing the aggregate demand would remain the same. So it's a curve which slopes downward from left to right, and which means that the aggregate real spending falls as the general price level rises. You can see that so this is something which is illustrated in the upper part of the figure, and which is explained by what is known as the monetary supply effect. And this simply means that as the general price level rises with the total money supply remaining the same, the actual demand for goods and services falls. So what we are considering is the influence of general price level upon the aggregate demand. We are not considering any other factors or changes in any other factors in influencing the aggregate demand. So that's why we are considering that the money supply is remaining the same. A fall in the real money supply will lead to falling consumption, investment, and net export, that is the decline in total spending. And the end result would be an upward movement along the aggregate demand curve from point A to B. You can see this in the upper part of the panel, the figure, and aggregate demand curve would shift to a new position, which is shown in the lower part of the figure. This may happen due to the changes in the government monetary as well as fiscal policies, or this can happen as a result of changes in the external factors such as changes in the oil price, rise in the share of prices, technological progress, etc. In the case of microeconomics, we have already seen what a demand curve is. A demand curve would analyze the behavior of individual commodity and individual consumer, right? Such a demand curve was downward sloping due to the price effect, which is a sum of the income effect as well as the substitution effect. In contrast, the aggregate demand curve, which is used in the arena of macroeconomics, this would depict the changes in the prices as well as output for the entire economy. You are not referring to a particular individual, but you are actually referring to the entire economy. But as in the case of the individual demand curve, this aggregate supply curve is downward sloping due to the money supply effect. Okay, and because we can see that there is an inverse relationship between the aggregate demand as well as the price level. There, in the case of individual demand for a commodity, you will be referring to the price of that particular commodity, but in this case, in the case of aggregate demand, you are actually relating the total demand of the economy with the general price level. Different economists hold different views regarding the determinants of aggregate demand. As per some economists, like monetarists, the total stock of money in circulation is a primary determinant of the rupee value of spending. One leading member of monetary school is Friedman, which is known as the father of monetary school. Friedman is popularly known as the father of monetary school. He says that there is an exact proportional relationship between the rupee value of all the purchases and the supply of money available. So thus, if the total rupee spending is equated to the nominal value of money, that nominal GNP, then the nominal GNP would be proportional to supply of money. Another group of economists hold the view that the important determinant of aggregate demand would be income and also spending flows. They focus on changes in government expenditure and tax programs along with changes in investment and economic conditions such as charges in the country's balance of payment. However, most modern economists like Samuelson, Lipsey, Baumol, etc., they have got a new approach, which includes a wide variety of policy as well as external forces affecting the aggregate demand. Just understand the aggregate demand curve in the case of J.M. Keynes. Keynes, as you all know, he's a person who has criticized the classical school of thought. We have also seen the consumption function aspect. He has proposed the investment spending pattern, multiplier pattern, all these concepts which he has specified or he has contributed to the arena of macroeconomics. And he has pointed out that when an economy has excess capacity, the aggregate demand curve would have a shift. This will result in different levels of output at a fixed price level, which you can see in the case of the same case could be seen in the figure here. Here, the aggregate supply curve is here given, and y3 is the potential output. Here aggregate supply curve is P0 A B C D, that is aggregate supply curve. Okay. So long as the AS curve is completely elastic, the rightward shift of the aggregate demand curve would result in increase in the output from Y0 to Y1 to Y2 to Y3. This is known as the Keynes view of the line macroeconomy. Okay. And in this theory of income determination, Keynes has shown that how price level and equilibrium output would be determined. If the current price level seem to be higher relative to future price level, then you have to understand that households may reduce their current consumption, and in this case the aggregate expenditure schedule shift downward to the right. This is what you can see in the figure here. Thus, here while Y0 is output corresponding to the original price level P0, and this is indicated by the aggregate expenditure schedule. Y1 is the new level of output corresponding to new price level, which is P1. The top half of the diagram shows the effect of an increase in the price level from P0 to P1 and on the aggregate supply schedule, and this would decrease the equilibrium output from Y0 to Y1. The bottom half of the diagram traces of the equilibrium values of aggregate demand, which is corresponding to different price levels. That's all. I welcome you to my Telegram group and Telegram channel to discuss your doubts. Please like, share and subscribe to this channel for more videos, and thank you for watching.